Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast. We are doing something a little different for the next, month or so. We have decided again to come back from last year and cover a handful of the films that are being premiered at FrightFest this year, the 2025 FrightFest. And this time I have Chantal joining me for the event. So we're really excited and I hope you enjoy the episode.
All right, are we ready for our next film?
Let's do it.
So, directed and written by Stephen Staley and Natasha Tosini, we are covering The Haunting at Jack the Ripper's house. So, a group of famous YouTubers known for their paranormal ghost hunting video blogs set out on a mission to end the rumors they're faking their haunts and film their most ambitious video yet. Katie, what did you make of this one?
I thought the idea around the film was really interesting. I think it started off again, like you were quite captivated by the whole kind of YouTube side of it. Like, oh, how is this gonna go? Like, I quite like the dynamic of kind of seeing the like behind the scenes YouTube and then when they get like interviewed on a podcast and stuff. I thought that was quite a cool way to start a horror film. To me, I think just this film kind of went in too many different directions. For me personally, it just I found it to be quite a strain to get through. I felt like it wasn't a long film by any means, but it felt like a bit of a struggle throughout. Yeah, unfortunately, I just wasn't very sold on this one. What about you?
No, it's weird when you say it's not very long, and I just checked. It's an hour and 23, but it feels a lot longer.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because again, it's a YouTube team. So I mean, I know nowadays you can put like an hour video on YouTube, and we have. But typically YouTube started as like 10-minute videos maximum. So it's funny that now it's like this thing and we're like, it's far too long. I was really excited about this one. I was like, something a new take on Jack the Ripper. Although I remember starting it and texting you and then been like, hang on, plot hole. We don't know who Jack the Ripper is. How can they be at his house? Like, I can't remember if that's addressed in the film. But it just suddenly I was like, hang on, like glaring plot hole there. Like, whose house are they at? But yeah, it took a while as well to get to the house. Like there was a lot of background on the YouTube channel, which I just don't think we needed that much. Like there was more than they were also a weird YouTube mix of people, like the friendship group. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like I know he was one of the directors and writers, but like Stephen Staley, and I think there was one of the other characters.
Yeah, Natasha Tosini, yeah, she's the main character.
Sorry, but I think it was Stephen Staley's character, and like kind of one of the other characters was also quite a bit older than the others.
Yeah.
So it suddenly looks like, well, there's a friendship group that probably went to school together. Who are these people? Like, well, how did they? But that wasn't explained. But like, we got a lot of explanation on the YouTube channel, but not how they actually met each other. So that was a bit odd to just be like, what's that? Unfortunately, I think they didn't like some of the flashbacks as well. Like, I'm sorry, but the scene where they're like naming the YouTube channel was something off Hollyoaks. Like the acting was Hollyoaks level. It was not good. And it was a really awkward scene.
Yeah, I think some of the actors I think were solid. I think the ones that we've previously seen in Cinderella's Curse, I think Kelly Ryan Sanson and Tasha Tosini, I think they were probably the strongest of the cast. Like we've praised their performance before in Cinderella's Curse, and I think they were probably the strongest. But the other acting, it was very Hollyoaks to me. It was very over dramatic. It wasn't. It was meant to be like a real life thing, like an actual just YouTube channel that are doing this, and it felt very overacted,
But even
and
when it
not like a
wasn't,
natural group of friends.
yeah, but even when the camera was off and they were just meant to be having a conversation, it felt very stiff.
Very stiff, yeah. I mean, talking of the camera, you can actually see the camera in the mirror, which I was like, wait, shit, was that meant to happen? Because obviously they're filming, but it wasn't. I looked it
It was an
up.
actual camera.
It was an actual camera, yeah. And it's just things like that, that really need to be, I completely appreciate that this is like Sasha Tosini's debut.
Yeah.
And, I feel like she's got really good ideas, but it wasn't maybe as executed as well as I would have liked it to have been. It
Yeah.
wasn't polished enough, I feel.
No, I think it must have been hard as well, like having written, directed, and then also being on, because again, both of them have huge roles.
Yeah.
So that must have been really hard directing and also being on camera. So I
Yeah.
don't know if one of them had stayed behind the camera more, like if it would have helped give it a bit more polish. But it's funny as well, as you said, like Natasha Tosini and Kelly Sanson.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Previously, they've played very different characters.
Mm.
So actually, I think this was really nice to see them challenge themselves in a completely different role. Like I've never seen Natasha Tosini play vulnerable, and I think that was really interesting.
Mm.
Because again, normally she's kind of just like Winnie the Pooh. She's the first kill. She's that girl, and she does it well. Don't get me wrong, but it was really nice to see
It
actually her
was.
range. Yeah, and she did do that well. And to be fair, I'll give the makeup a fucking shout because when actually I won't say the name. I was gonna say who it was that was covered in it, but at one point one of them, yeah, is done up very creepy. And again, I think it's on the poster, so I don't think it's a spoiler. But I think it was genuinely quite creepy, and again because it was like haunted house kind of vibes. So I think
Yeah.
that was really done well. I just don't think there was enough of it, and I don't think it was actually scary.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the things that were done well, there just wasn't enough of.
Yeah.
And it kind of, the less good things kind of outweighed the good things in this circumstance. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing like what they do next.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't revisit this one.
No.
I just felt like it really didn't do anything for me.
No. And that's it. I think it focused a lot on the people, but the people weren't great.
Yeah, and it's very, and like, we've banged on about before, but it's kind of well, I say kind of, it's important to have, especially in horror, because you really are supposed to be rooting for these characters. I think it's very important to have at least one or two like really likable people. And I just felt like I had no connection to any of them. There was no real like emotional connection.
I think as well it's hard because there was one character who was like driving them to stay in the house and be in the house, but he was actually just annoying. It wasn't even like I mean, you did kind of dislike him, but again, it
Yeah.
wasn't even like, oh yeah, like you get why he's there. He was just it just kind of got annoying. You're like, oh my god, stop shouting at them all.
Mm.
Like, just that we get it, you want to film, but it just kind of got repetitive, and it was like, okay, cool, we get his point, but
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
we're so
No, completely.
unsympathetic to YouTubers trying to stay in house.
Yeah, I know. And also the ending I thought was pretty anticlimactic. Like I feel
Mm,
like it was a sort of a bit of a cop out to end it that way.
yeah.
I think it could have had a slightly stronger ending as well. So yeah, it was a tricky one. I'd like to see how this went down at Fright Fest. If anyone did see it, what their thoughts were. You might completely disagree with us.
Yeah.
And I completely appreciate like, you're putting your passion project out there. I think it's just, you know it could have been a lot stronger because it had a strong idea.
You are right when you say about the idea and like what comes next, because the thing is as well with horror is having to evolve, because it used to be, oh, there's a man in the shadows at camp and we can't call for help. Now we've got so much technology,
Yeah.
but that technology is now coming into horror. So we've now
Mm.
got the YouTube channels. We've had, oh, what was there was a horror film literally based on Zoom.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I can't
Host.
host. Thank
Directed
you.
by Jed Shepherd.
There we go. So this is it, and it's having to evolve. So it's really
Yeah.
cool seeing that. But unfortunately, you're not
Of
always going to get it
course.
right. Although watch us say this, and in 50 years, everyone will be like, that was the original, that was the OG like tech horror. Although saying that, actually, I think Paranormal Activity probably was.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure, but maybe.
But there's a lot
Maybe.
more like now in horror. You have to like
You're so
they,
right.
they
Yeah.
didn't have signal. They broke the phone. You have to explain so much more.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. Yeah, you have a lot more, because it's like, what's your excuse? You
Yeah,
got fucking 5G everywhere.
yeah.
But
Why do you call an
it's
Uber? And it's
harder.
like, you have to explain why
It's
they couldn't.
harder. Yeah, it was so much easier back in the 70s and 80s.
God, look
90s.
how easy they had it. Like,
I know. Fucking Sidney Prescott. Jesus. Why did it take however many Scream films to fucking...
right. Well, who would you recommend this to?
I would recommend this to maybe uh someone maybe that hasn't like experienced horror. They're quite new to horror.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe people that like a ghost story, that like a bit of true crime. Yeah, that kind of vibe, I think. Like more sort of like a ghost vibe.
Bit paranormal.
Yes. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, it's a hard one. I would say if you're a fan of Natasha Tosini, like if you've seen a bit of her work, do come see this because again, that like is really cool seeing her act differently, and it's her directing debut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think other than that, kind of paranormally.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just I'd say something quite nice kind of in the background, and then you probably just keep coming back to be like, what was that noise?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I can see that happening when you're like, I'm just gonna put this on, and then you end up watching it for the entire hour and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe.
And what would you give this Spookies out of 5?
Spookies out of 5. I'm going to give this, oh God, I'm going to give it 1 out of 5, I'm afraid. I just think, as I said before, sort of the weaker parts of the film just outweighed the strong parts. Again, I think some of the acting was sort of solid. I thought it was decent. And again, cool idea, just not executed well, I don't think. So yeah, mine it'll be a pretty low score, but I am looking forward to seeing like what comes next. But yeah, what about you?
They're going to go 2, I think, for similar reasons. I think some of the acting, again, we have praised some of the acting, but I think a lot of the acting did let it down.
Yeah.
I did like the idea of the script. I did like the idea kind of going into it, and I did like the idea of some of the characters. I just don't think they're executed well.
Yeah.
But I did really like the set look, other than seeing the camera. But I did like the sort of like how it was set up, the fact they kept going to like live streaming on their phones. I think kind of gave it a nice, like, reminded you it was a YouTube channel, because obviously they were filming in advance. That's how YouTube works. So I think that kind of was really cool. But then also, like, yeah, just like the set design, the costumes and the SFX, I think all really kind of is the reason I'm giving it the extra 1. I really liked the look of it. I just don't think it held its own, unfortunately.
No, yeah, fully agree with that. But yeah, if you guys watched it, let us know what you think. Again, we'll, put out details for the film if you guys want to check it out, release dates and things. Be really interesting to know your opinions. So yeah, let us know what you think.
Enjoy.